There is a clock ticking underneath the global economy. It is invisible to politicians. It is ignored by mainstream media, but it is the single most powerful force driving history. Every 80 years, roughly the span of one human lifetime, the world's financial system breaks. It doesn't bend. It doesn't correct. It shatters. And then it is reset. The last time this cycle hit its apex was 1944, at Bretton Woods, when the current global monetary system was born out of the ashes of World War and Depression. Do the math. 1944 plus 80 years is 2024. We are already in the red zone. The next great reset isn't a conspiracy theory for the distant future. It is scheduled for approximately 2026. You have about 12 months left before the rules of money change completely. By the end of this video, I'll prove it. We'll observe crisis charts data to today and reveal why the elite are moving their money before midnight. To understand where we are going, you first have to understand the engine driving this cycle. Economists call it the long debt cycle. Others call it a fourth turning. It's simple. Human beings make the same mistakes. In the same order, a new system begins with low debt and hard money. People work hard. Savings are real. That was America after World War II. But as generations pass, we forget the pain of the last crash. We start borrowing. We replace hard money with easy credit. We build massive bubbles in stocks and real estate, convinced that asterisk this time is different asterisk. That is the peak, and that is exactly where we are today. The world is now sitting on $307 trillion of debt. That is mathematical insanity. It can never be paid back. So what happens when the debt becomes unpayable? History shows us there are only two ways out: a deflationary crash, like 1929, or an inflationary reset, like 1971. The terrifying part about 2026 is that we are facing both at the exact same time. If we look at the data we found, in the roaring 20s, new technologies radio automobiles convinced everyone it was a new era of permanent prosperity. People borrowed massive amounts of money just to gamble in the stock market. Now look at today. We have AI instead of radio. We have crypto instead of automobiles. But the human behavior is identical. The leverage, the speculation, the belief that stocks only go up. In 1929, the Federal Reserve tried to gently tap the brakes. By raising interest rates, the entire system collapsed. The Dow Jones fell nearly 90% today. The Federal Reserve has raised rates faster than at any point in history to fight inflation. They are trying to pop the biggest asset bubble ever recorded without breaking anything. If history is our guide, they will fail. The 1929 chart suggests we are standing on a trapdoor that is about to open. But a stock market crash is only half the problem. August 15, 1971, the day the music died. Before this date, every dollar was a claim check on gold. Governments couldn't just print infinite money to fund wars and welfare. They were constrained by reality. Nixon broke that link. He turned the dollar from an asset into a promise. This is the result. Since 1971, U.S. national debt has exploded from under $400 billion to over $34 trillion. This was the beginning of the end. Of the 80-year cycle, we replaced productivity with printing. The 1970s taught us that when you print too much money, you get a decade of crushing inflation. We are seeing the start of that right now. But here is the terrifying difference. Between the 1970s and the 2020s, in the 1970s, the U.S. debt-to-GDP ratio was about 35%. Today, it is over 120%. In the 70s, they could raise interest rates to 20% to kill inflation if they did that today. The U.S. government would be bankrupt within months because the interest payments on the debt would consume the entire budget. They are trapped. They cannot stop inflation without causing a depression, and they cannot stop a depression without causing hyperinflation. This is the Great Convergence. We have the asset bubble of 1929 combined with the monetary debasement of 1971, all sitting on a mountain of debt that makes both previous eras look like pocket change. The 80-year clock is striking midnight. The debt cannot be paid. It will not be paid. So what happens in 2026? What does a reset look like? It won't be Mad Max. It will be a bureaucratic restructuring. of the global monetary system. We are likely looking at a Bretton Woods 2.0. World leaders will gather, declare the current system broken, and introduce a new one based on the current trajectory. This involves three things. 1. The introduction of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This allows them to reset the system and gain total control over the new money. And second, financial repression. They will keep interest rates below inflation for a decade, slowly burning away the real value of your savings and their debt. And third, and this is the most important part, a revaluation of gold. In the 1930s reset, FDR confiscated gold and then revalued it 70% higher against the dollar. In the 1970s reset, gold went from $35 to $800. When trust in paper money dies, the system always resets against the only real money that exists. The 80-year cycle is not a conspiracy theory. It is history's metronome. The 1780s, the 1860s, the 1940s, and now the 2020s. The system is flashing red. The elites know it. Why do you think central banks are buying record amounts of gold right now? Why are billionaires buying farmland? They aren't panic buying. They are positioning for the reset. You have about 12 months. The clock is ticking. If you are holding all your wealth in the currency of the dying system, paper dollars, and in overvalued stocks, you are going to be the liquidity for the new system. Don't be a victim of the cycle. Be a student of it. In the next video, I'm going to break down the exact portfolio strategy used by old money families to survive these 80-year resets. You cannot afford to miss that. Subscribe and turn on notifications.